nice. I always come to your meetings, but this one I can't.
Well, Monday we have Alice.
And she wasn't at
Not
it
at all.
yet.
I thought, really shocked. I didn't do anything in school, but I'm gonna tell you, it just doesn't stop. You know, we had the issue with Bingo while
I know.
my office, while my office
And I'm
was
surprised
wrong.
that,
Folks, we're on camera, right here. And this meeting will ultimately end up on the internet. Okay. Think we can get started? Will the broadband committee please come to order? All right, we had a lot of handouts. So, did everybody get Marcel's report here?
Ready to do it? We need 2 more sets of the others. Thank you.
Did everyone get this multi-part map?
I'll take 2 of those.
There's about 12 pages. And all they are, this is gonna be explained, is that big chart on the screen, this chart here, broken into what's called poster print. There's nothing lost, but it's broken into 12 non-overlapping parts. If you really wanted to take it home and put it on your dining room table, you could line it up and it would look just like what you see on the screen. So, did everyone get one?
No.
Well, we're gonna fix that. As will be explained in greater detail, this is an important piece of the puzzle because it is a schedule of planned, installation, digging of the network overlay. Anybody else didn't get one?
over here,
Eva.
pass that
Pass that
downstairs,
down to Ken.
like in public.
Yeah, I'll stand here by the bag because I have more hot dog.
Alright. Did everyone get one of these pictures?
Alright, I need 2 of those.
Need 2 or 3 of those.
Ken, did you get this? I don't think you did. Can I have
No,
a
he only
picture?
got one piece.
You got the pictures?
I do have the picture.
What do you
Ken
need?
needs
I
it.
need a picture
One
for
more.
Ken.
No, he doesn't need it. He doesn't.
One more first.
Ken can have a picture.
Yeah, take it. I don't need it.
Here's that, he doesn't have
Yeah.
Alright, sorry about all the handouts. Some of them arrived at the last minute.
Yes.
Alright. Again, let me remind you we're being recorded. And who would like to kick this off? Marcel, Charlie, Reagan?
Oh, I'll let Marcel pick up.
Good morning. This first handout, I'm Marcel Korn, by the way, with Bud Project Control. This first handout, this one that you see, is the report that I provided to the reporter last month. It's a simple overview in as understandable language as I can make it. As far as what the system is comprised of and how it's going to be distributed. It's pirated a lot of information and pictures that I got from Charlie Roberts, who is the project manager. The most interesting thing here is that you've got 17 miles of fiber optic conduit and cable that's going to be installed in the village. And in addition to which, there's 10 miles of coax, which is going to go from the nodes, which we'll be explaining later, to the actual conduit. The status has changed since last I wrote the report. Work has begun in the village. It's going on this morning between Dover C and B. And Dover B has already gotten the setups where the new pedestals will be located. They have done a lot of hand punching, and there's been some directional boring. Directional boring is a process by which they are able to run the conduit under surfaces that cannot be excavated or trenched to avoid the cost of asphalt restoration or concrete restoration. That's a general overview. The second page in that handout, which looks like this. Not the second page, the second item. That's basically what came out of the corner of this chart, and I translated numbers into buildings. And approximated that into a calendar. The last page, which is the one that's on 14-inch paper, the Gantt chart, is translating this same data into a visual format.
How many in the room have heard the term Gantt chart? Maybe before that PERT chart, critical path diagramming of the progress of a project. All right, I would suggest that when you go home, you get on your computer and you look it up. There's a lot of very interesting information in a Gantt chart once you learn how to read it. All right?
I'm gonna put the Gantt chart on the screen right now. And I'm gonna explain that this red line here, that's today. And as the project advances, the percent completion will be in blue, right there.
Remember, we were on video. You can shut the front ones. But if you make the whole room dark.
As we proceed in the project, we will be advancing like this. And you get more and more blue, and these percentage completions will advance. That's what I've been using for Gantt charts.
Based on your published chart, we're a little ahead of schedule, really.
Yes, we've, in
Boots on the ground.
zone 1 and 2, yeah, we're a little ahead, yes.
So when you refer to completion, it had nothing to do with actually coming into the buildings yet?
No.
This is only talking about the
Yeah.
construction phase, not the
Not the
installation.
Correct.
Charlie, you have anything to add further?
You covered everything on the schedule that I've given you,
Yes, you
okay?
have.
But if everyone would just, when you get home or whatever, you wanna take a look at the maps that you have. They're the exact maps that we work off of, okay? And it gives you a general idea of what our construction schedule is, okay? Now, I just wanna advise everybody up front. My construction schedule is a work in progress. It's a moving target. And the reason is, we've ordered materials on this project, but I have not received the first bit of materials. I've started this project with materials that I had left over from another project, and I wanted to get my contractors working to get them started in here. I like being ahead of schedule anyway, and you're gonna appreciate it, even though during the construction phase, you're all gonna have issues with my group, I promise you. And I'm just giving you a heads up. They try and do a good job, they do their best, but everybody's gonna have issues once the digging starts, which is, it's already started, we've already had a few issues, okay? But again, it's a moving target, it's a work in progress, and anything is subject to change. The bottom line is, my goal is to be finished with all this digging by the end of this year. Your contract with Comcast isn't up till June, I think, right?
Yeah.
Next
July.
July of next year, okay? Now, I don't wanna wait till May of next year to be finishing the digging, because we have almost 8,000 installations that have to be completed here. And that's not gonna happen overnight. It's gonna take us several months. So I wanna be finished with building the network by December, and then after that, we will start the bulk of the installations. Some could come before, if equipment comes in, and we're able to get this network on time. That's my goal, but I can't give you a schedule on it because I don't know when all this equipment's gonna be hitting my yard. Yes, sir.
What's the delay in getting the equipment?
The whole United States and the foreign countries are buying equipment right now because everybody's building. The manufacturers cannot make it fast enough.
So where do you sit on the priority list of,
I,
getting
I,
equipment?
I have no idea, you know, it's because there's thousands of companies building right now, so, you know, I'm not even gonna get electronics in here until September.
So you're putting conduit in now?
I'm putting all the conduit in, I'm getting all the digging out of the way first. And then, let me just explain the phases, how this works. We'll put the conduit in, and then we'll come in and we'll start pulling the fiber. Okay? Now, at the same time we're pulling the fiber, we're also putting in cabinets. Because once we get the fiber pulled, I want everything covered up. So we'll pull in the fiber, we'll pull in the coax, and we'll put in the cabinets, the pedestals, the vaults. Well, vaults will go in now while we're putting in pipe, because that's all underground, okay? Once that happens, we start doing the splicing. Now, splicing is a huge monster of a project itself, because we have coaxial splicing, which is, I think I have like almost 2,000 distribution taps that get spliced in out here. We've got all the fiber splicing. I'm bringing a 432 count fiber. It's this big around. It's got 432 fibers in it. That takes 2 or 3 days to splice one location of the 432. We're gonna have it. It's what ties all this in out here. Plus, every location has a fiber splice. That doesn't go fast because it has to be spliced and tested. All that stuff takes time. And then once the fiber splicing gets done, we actually start putting signal to our devices out here. Once the signal gets to the device and we see that we have light, which is what the fiber is all about, to the node locations, we'll make sure the nodes are proof that everything's working fine. Then we'll send signal out to the rest of the plant. Then we have to go to every location, check it, test it, verify it, and that takes a long time with all
Charlie,
locations.
let me
Yes,
ask you a
ma'am.
question. So what you're saying, what he said about the equipment being delayed, we don't know what time element it is. You have no way of knowing, which can then delay getting the nodes approved so it can go to the units, which could back up when you're gonna go into the units. It's a possibility, right?
Look, I am 99% sure that by December 31st, this network will be up, on, and running.
So in
At
January, we should be
100%.
able to go to units?
In January, we should start the installs. Yes,
That's our
ma'am.
target date with Bev, who we'll bring in a couple of meetings down the road as we get further down the road. She does the launch. And
Okay,
she'll
that's what I'm
coordinate with
asking about.
Everybody, you know, throughout that as far as how we install, you know, who gets first, who's second, based on, you know, the different pods where we build, et cetera.
If I understand what Charlie just said, why can't these two events be going on in parallel? Different crews, different people.
Some of it will
Why
be.
can't the work from the DMARC and into the units be underway now?
Now,
Yeah.
we don't have any
Why not?
active
They
plan.
have no
Huh?
active
Right,
approved
but-
nodes.
You're ultimately gonna connect a signal to the DMARC on every wall of every unit. Inside, some of that cable is old, may not work. This is all part of your testing procedure. Is the signal strength okay? There are many apartments in my building, none of that coax is there.
Okay.
That's gonna have to be put in. Is that gonna be RG6?
Mhm.
Okay, so I don't understand why that side of the DMARC can't be going on now.
I don't think you'd have anything to test it to, you'd have this.
You put a signal on the line at the DMARC inside, and you see what kind of signal strengths you're getting.
But we don't have any way to put RF on it.
No, you get, you need any kind of generator. I'm not worried, you're gonna get your connection, but, all of these companies have a little generator box. They come into your unit, they disconnect from, at the DMARC inside the wall. They connect it to this little box, they go to the other end where the TV is, and they see instantly. They got signal strength or they don't.
We can tone out the cable, but we don't put a signal. We don't have a little box that puts
understand.
signal on it. It's a
You don't.
signal level meter.
Okay, fine.
Okay, and the meter is what tests the signal coming into the unit, and then that tells us what's going on in the unit
Alright.
by measuring our signal and what's happening inside, okay? Now, our installers, they do this every day.
You
And
guys are
the-
gonna do interior too? No.
Sure.
Okay, I didn't,
Oh, yeah, we have to go in
Soon
the
as you
unit
get
for
their
test
wire
I
drive.
ain't got you.
Sir?
You're gonna do this as soon as you get your wire in.
Once I get this signal activated and we start scheduling the installs, the installer is responsible for making sure that that signal is perfect to every outlet before he leaves. Okay, and we'll have enough installers in here, if they run into a problem, they'll get in here and they'll get it straightened out. Now, we
I
fully
don't
expect,
wish to appear to be telling you how to do your job. It just
it's a
sounded
good
like,
question though, but
it just sounded like these are two events that could go on at the same time.
Well,
Plus,
but they're
you're-
not testing their signal when they get in and
No, no,
test
I
the one that's
understand.
there.
we're also spending a lot of money making 2 or 3 trips,
yeah, I got you,
okay, which is something we don't wanna do.
alright.
We wanna make one trip, get it covered the first time, and be done with it. That way, you're home, you know what's going on. When we go through there, you know that when our installer leaves your unit, it's right. You've got what you're supposed to be having, and it's good. We do what we call, home certifications now, okay? The home certs, we will do home certs on every one of these when we install them. We require that of our installers, so when they go in there, they'll certify that your cable is good, your signal is good, your TV signals, whatever video service you have is good. If you have telephone service, we'll do VoIP tests, it's all part of the home search to make sure that your phones are working properly. If you've got data, we test all the data going to your modem, to the internet. I can see that modem on my phone. I have 8,000 new customers I can see on my phone, see what happened in your unit at all times. So even if the installer leaves and he's done his home certifications, I'm sorry, I can see when your modem starts messing up or if you have a problem there. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, what I want to know, I know I'm in a small building, 16. We have a lot of splitters, I know, up above, okay? And I get high internet service from you guys. I take the high package, right? You'll make sure that that wire is gonna be bringing in exactly what I'm ordering. You know what I'm
Yes, ma'am.
saying?
Yes, ma'am.
Because we have Comcast now, and you might have a blast, but if you don't have the wiring properly, you're not gonna get it. You're not getting the full potential.
And I get that because that's Comcast.
You know what I
Yes,
mean with
ma'am. What
Comcast.
we do, our installers will go in and if they see a splitter in your line, it comes out.
Okay.
And we
So
put the right splitter in there.
brand new network, you're using nothing that Comcast leaves behind.
The drops inside the building are gonna stay like they are. Everything outside is brand new from the ground up.
You
There's one
mentioned,
behind you here that had their hand up. for a
Hi,
second.
John.
Good morning.
I'd like to know what's happening in Cypress Lake, since they're supposed to be up in, July, I believe, they're supposed to be up and running in July. So what's happening in Cypress Lake, because we have people that we all know there, and we talk to them. So we'd like to get an idea of what's
I'd love to
happening
give you
there.
an update. All the underground, all the digging is finished in there. We're waiting on materials. I have cabinets coming in next week. That's the biggest part of it, the cabinets. And the fiber, I already have the fiber, but I can't put the fiber in until the cabinets come in, okay? And I will meet my schedule and I'm gonna have that finished by May.
you're not gonna be getting foggy fiber from China, are you?
We ordered a bunch of that garbage a couple of years ago, and, you know, what, they have 2 kinds of fiber they use in Europe, it's called, zero dispersion and non-zero dispersion fiber. Well, they don't tell you when you're ordering it what it is. Now, the weird thing about it is, one is round and one is oval. And when you try and splice those together,
Not gonna work.
you get, it does work, but you have a lot of loss. And when I was working in Europe, I ordered a bunch of that garbage, not knowing it. And the fiber splicers were calling me at 2:00 in the morning saying, I can't get it to work. I've got so much loss, what's going on? That's when we found the Chinese zero and non-zero dispersion fiber, and it's a big deal. We don't order our fiber from China. Our fiber is American made, it's Corning fiber.
Was it Joe? I just wanna make a point. I view this project as extremely important for the future. To me, it's a dig once, master telecommunications plan. To me, this is not just cable and internet. We're putting drops all over this place. It's security cameras. Ultimately, it's controlling the irrigation system, and that's not their problem. They're gonna give us drops, terminal equipment, that's up to us. But I hope to be working with Eva. I get nothing but complaints in there about the Wi-Fi. That Wi-Fi should be up by an order of magnitude, meaning a power of 10. And hopefully, we're gonna save a lot of money by you're gonna have huge bandwidth. You know, Reagan's been talking for a while about ultimately a gigabit, and I can't wait to see it happen. You're gonna be amazed when you have that kind of bandwidth to work with. All right,
Charlie.
it's all yours.
There's this fellow over here that's had his hand up for a couple of
Yes, sir. Before you start the interior installation, I know a lot of people are gonna have a lot of questions about where the drops are going, where the cables are going, if they want, the whole package, all three package. But I was wondering if it'd be possible to schedule a delegates meeting where we could have a question and answer period about this broadband and the installation coming into your unit. If we could make a special delegates assembly for that, we could get back with our people in our buildings. So maybe the techs don't have so much time to answer everybody's questions. We can give them a little heads up before they get there.
Well, the other thing we'll do is we'll have pre-sales, type events where we're gonna come in, have coffee, donuts, people can come to the event, talk about, ask questions. We'll have a staff on, site there. And then we do the same thing here that we kinda did at Sunrise Lakes, but to a bigger scale. We had about 12 tables set up when we start, and we go by building, and we launch, you come in your day and, your time, and you get to sit down with somebody and talk through what you want, what other services. So we have everything built and modeled before the installer comes to your house. He knows what you're getting, et cetera, all of those things. Now, you can always make a change, that's not a problem, but we have a preliminary idea that you want an extra couple of channels, you want, upgrade speeds, you want the TiVo box, whatever, those kind of things. But we do a number of events prior to that are just informational at that point. And then we move into what's the phase of the pre-sale, which is you get to come in by your building and everybody's scheduled by days and time, so we don't get overwhelmed, because if we open the floodgates, with 8,000 people, it's too many. So we try to, here's your date, here's your building, here's your time, those kind of things where we structure it.
And now what you just said would make an excellent article in the Yuko Reporter, and there's gonna be many articles.
Okay.
The idea of town halls is interesting, but I am not gonna put up with people who stand up and try to renegotiate the cable contract. If we do town halls, it's gonna be for informational purposes only. But there's gonna be a lot of stuff distributed, there's gonna be a lot of articles, Marcel is gonna do articles. You guys are certainly invited to do articles to explain just the sort of array of questions that Ray is talking about.
Yeah.
Believe me, there'll be all kinds of questions, and we will make every effort. Remember, we've got a solid year, actually a little more than that, to get information out there, and we will. We will. I'm starting off this month, I put an article in. It's kind of first level,
Okay.
but there will be more articles. As these charts come out, we'll translate them into English. People can actually read and understand, and try to keep everybody informed the best we can. Ken?
Yeah, Charlie,
Yes,
the
sir.
people that are working on site now on behalf of Atlantic Broadband, do they have any ID that says Atlantic Broadband?
On their trucks. All the
Truck
trucks,
says
all their
Atlantic
trucks
Broadband?
have Atlantic Broadband signs. It'll say DBE with Atlantic Broadband right under it. All the trucks.
They're all wearing the same uniform too, when we were over there
It
checking
says
what they were
utility
doing.
worker on it or something like
Utility
that.
services or utility worker, and they're in bright green or bright yellow, whatever,
Well,
whatever
this
color,
charge
I'm a
is
little colorblind.
important for every association board, because it's gonna give you an approximation on when they're gonna start digging on your property, so you won't be surprised. Okay, Barbara?
2 questions. One, you said about meeting with the buildings, you said you were going to have a schedule, like this group will come, the next group will come, which I think is a really good idea. On that basis, I'm sure it works well, because you used it in Sunrise, right? Okay. Second thing is the clubhouse. That's our main source up there. Will the clubhouse be put online first?
Yes.
That's all I wanna
Yeah,
know.
yeah. We gotta
Okay.
we prioritize that to be the first.
I actually already have the pipe into the clubhouse right now.
So
That was
you're
the
right
first
on
place
it.
I
Okay,
went.
Charlie. Okay.
I wanna make sure that we have the services in there before we start any of our parties, so people
Okay.
can see what our service looks like.
Yeah, that's a good idea. Okay.
For the clubhouse, are we talking about television or are we talking about Wi-Fi?
Whatever we need to put in
Yeah, you're
there,
talking
and
about
take any
both
of
in
it.
that scenario, we walked it before, so there'll be Wi-Fi throughout the place, we gotta work through.
Right, but right now, there's somebody else doing the Wi-Fi.
Yeah,
Correct.
So,
So you're gonna take
Atlantic
over?
Broadband to do the Wi-Fi.
yeah.
Yeah, you'll have to work that out if you're paying for it or something now to say, well, we can discontinue that contract, I mean, we'll.
Well, as soon as you let us know when we
Yeah,
can
yeah,
do that.
Exactly.
I have 2 clubhouses, so I have a second clubhouse at Hastings, which is the direction you're going first.
Fitness center.
So it's my fitness center, but I've got TVs in there and we
You're gonna be
also
way-
offer the
Yeah, we'll have
that would be
Wi-Fi.
first.
It's not gonna be first,
The
but
big
you're,
clubhouse is what
you're
we
going,
planned, I didn't know
the
you had a
north side
second.
of the
That's
one.
village
back
and
by,
around.
that's back by the synagogue,
What
right?
zone, what zone is Hastings Fitness Center on this chart?
Should be on there easy.
June.
June.
Hastings over to the side.
Yeah, it's,
It's around the corner.
Yeah, right there.
yeah, June through October.
Is AB coming in, going to also do the telephone service for the clubhouse?
Remember, terminal equipment is our choice, we're gonna have to work that with Eva. And,
So we're gonna have to decide
we
which is the
can-
best way to
if
go.
we can do better, then we're doing
You'll
that.
have to
It's a
get,
business service, you want the SLA attached to it. Yes, sir.
Could you, talk a little bit about how you handle the seasonal people, because they won't be here oftentimes, and
Yeah, depending upon, our launch date is like January, that's when we really wanna start. And I know I had a couple meetings with the French Canadians, and they were like, could we get it in before we left? That's very, very possible, we'll work that out with Bev on the launch timeframes. It all kind of depends on following somewhat the footprint as we trail behind Charlie as he's lighting it up or moving, if we get any advice. But I really, we've never missed a deadline yet. A lot on Charlie's shoulders, but he won't miss that deadline, he'll be done by basically the end of December. We start in January, at that point, we'll have, open forum meetings and we'll discuss. Bev kind of comes in and she lays out the plan, and then if there's any tweaks to the plan, the board can have that conversation, say, well, we'd like to, implement this change or that change, and we're fine with that, we move it, and we adjust, we'll break down how many we do a day, and we stay on schedule, what that means, when we're gonna, our target date to be complete. Now, you guys will get free service for whatever that is, if you're in January, you're looking at about 6 months where, you're not paying for service. So you would cut out your extras from Comcast and save that money, but you still have to pay your bulk to the HOA.
Y'all please be gentle on me, okay? I'm getting you on as fast as I can.
So, yes, sir.
Dover's kind of been the guinea pig here so far because they've already started. And so far, we've got nothing but good things to say.
Good.
Starting with the crew with the shovels in their hands, they're very respectful. Any comments to them Kathy's had or that we've had over placement of pedestals and what's going on, they've been great, so. I had nothing but good things so far, and they're learning. The one thing that did surprise me is that the number of people in our building that had no clue that Comcast is going away and we're like speaking to the choir here, and we when we're doing education, don't assume that people are at our level and then educating from there up. You gotta start back at we should start back at square one of saying, this contract's ending and this date, this is what's gonna happen.
In the
this is
paper, the
what-
newspaper should be
you know,
saying that.
They're asking how much difference is the price, I'm
Oh,
thinking, where have they been,
Yeah, you got everything on video too.
Yeah, I know, so, it's just a cautionary tale that we can't hardly walk outside our building without being stopped by our buildings, without being stopped by somebody asking very, very basic questions.
You can't, it's almost impossible, David. We've been chewing on this close to 2 years, it's been in the paper. We put videos of these meetings on the internet, many blog posts. You can't get to all the people. We don't have the staff to put packages together and knock on 7,854 doors.
Well, the information is there, David, they just don't reach out for it, then you
Exactly.
can't do anything about that.
It's there,
Exactly.
it's
That's
there,
right,
that's
it's
right.
there.
Remember, I'll never forget it, the man in the street kind of thing when Spiro T. Agnew was up for vice president. And they asked some lady on the street, do you know what Spiro T. Agnew is? And she says, sounds like something in celestial mechanics. You know, and this was a national name, it had been in the paper for months. I don't know what else we can do, David.
It just, the nature of things is that people don't get a lot of people don't get engaged until it's right there.
That's true.
And, you know, all I'm saying is, you know, there are a rich number of articles that have come out in the Eagle Reporter. I guess I've got to find a way to get a syllabus of all the different places that they can go, and I can send them there.
You know what?
Go
You should-
online and go to the past issue of the Eagle Reporter on this date and pull it up and read it, and that'll give you the information.
You know what you should tell people? The day Comcast goes away, their cable bill will drop $6 per month per unit instantly.
Yeah.
See what their reaction is to that.
I just don't wanna do it 240 times.
One at a time, who's up? Go ahead. What? Stuart.
When you talked about informing the residents, if you can come up with a frequently asked question column
Yep.
based on your experience in the other places that you work that people have asked, because this probably will be coming up again and again and again. So we can head them off by writing the question down and your answer. This will provide them some basic knowledge as to what to expect down the line, so that when you do hold your forums, these people will come in more informed, and we won't have what you have over at Dover. I hope.
Ken,
You mentioned that it's almost impossible to put something on everybody's door.
not impossible.
Well, but there's a publication that comes out every month
Yeah.
that puts it on everybody's door.
Yeah.
So maybe we could put an insert in that publication.
Sure we can. What are you gonna put on the insert?
Reagan can come up with something.
Nothing is gonna be random questions coming from a larger audience. Nothing, there's no way you can,
Or at least people know that Atlantic Broadband's gonna be here if they don't know
I
that.
understand, and maybe there is a useful item that can be put together. Look what's coming to town, nice color cartoons, blah, blah, blah. But I'll tell you, there's been no secret made of what's going on here.
Right, it's been in the paper
All right,
so many
sir.
times.
Just to continue with the seasonal people, so January, you're coming into the unions hopefully. And if a person is not there during a time when you are, so then you're going to check their wiring, if everything is good to their unit, then you're gonna use
Well, if they're not
existing
there, we
wiring.
don't go in, you know, they have a year to get it installed, so if they missed it, then they would just, when they come back, they would call us and we'd show up that day and
I would
install it.
strongly suggest,
But we have a lot of months, or, you know, December,
Right,
January, February.
listen to me. That every board be prepared to let your folks exercise their easement. I don't care if they're here or in Bangkok. If you want to be sure you're gonna have this service, you gotta let people in to check your wiring, right? You've gotta let people know where you want your drops. If you're gonna say, no, you can't come in here. I mean, you need to adopt and set up a two-man policy. But you need to get people, you want this to happen. These folks are rolling. And if somebody puts up a roadblock, my advice to Charlie and to Reagan is just keep going. Because if July 19 comes and we're not ready, I'm gonna take a trip to the moon, right?
It'll be ready now. I want to assure,
I thought it was Panama.
I want to assure you, the snowbirds here, that if you are not here when we go through your village, you will have a phone number to call before you come back to make an arrangement to have an installer at your unit when you get back. to go through the unit,
Great.
okay?
But on what you're saying, some of us have condo sitters, and if we're informed through an email or a phone call that you're coming into my unit, then I'll get the condo sitters.
You're gonna have you're gonna
And
have
you'll
your own
a lot of lead
appointment.
time.
Okay.
You will, you'll have months of lead time where we're giving out the schedule, here's when we're coming, you'll have events that you can come to and do your pre-sale, or you can
Yeah,
skip
'cause
that and call into a direct line
I don't wanna
number.
delay anything if I'm
Yeah,
able
no,
to,
you're-
you
you know,
know, so.
Trust me, you'll have.
You'll have an
ample
appointment,
warning.
you'll have a window of a certain day that he's gonna be there. Anyway, it's
advance
not like
notice.
we're gonna be there all week, we'll get to you when we can, it's not like that. There's a window of a certain day that install will be at your
Right.
unit.
You're gonna try to contact us?
Okay,
through
hold on,
email
one
or-
at a
There's
time.
gonna be a big party, you're gonna come in, you're gonna meet the people, they're gonna talk about services, about everything in your
And that might
unit
not
and
be
sign you
there.
up.
Well, it won't be there initially, you know, so.
Yeah.
Alright,
You're not there.
Cookie,
Okay, if you're not there, all you have to do is get a hold of your maintenance guy, he's got the keys in the office, locked up for everybody's unit, you know what day they're gonna be there, the maintenance guy will go there with another maintenance guy to reassure that nothing's going on in that, that condo. You see
so
what I'm
that's
saying?
what David's saying, give him the okay, but
All right.
that's,
But
what
you're
you
a
say is
snowbird,
correct,
so.
but Charlie has you covered.
Right.
There are some people,
That
you
don't
can't
want
criticize them, they don't want anyone in their
Well, they're
unit.
not gonna get a cable then.
No,
They
but
will.
he's got that covered, they can make an appointment.
Yeah.
Okay, so you're covered at
how
both
do we
ends.
make the appointment?
You're gonna
When
have
we
a
do the
phone number to
events.
call.
Yeah. Yeah.
When we start signing people up, you will still be here, you're a snowbird, you're not leaving till April, right? Is that a good time, May?
End of May.
Even longer, okay? You're gonna be right at the end of the project anyway. You will probably be installed unless you're in the far west side of the property. You're already gonna be done. The people on the far west side of the property are gonna push out till May. We'll probably have this whole thing done before, I can't guarantee it, but by June, I'm gonna be out of here. So if you're in May, you're probably gonna get done. If you're not here, somehow you get missed, we will have you set up for an appointment. So when you come back in November, or whenever you come back, we'll have somebody come over and take care of you then, unless you make other arrangements. We're trying to make this easy for everybody. We know how difficult it is.
I just wanna go over something again so everybody understands. You're all gonna have a lot of lead time for when your appointment is for your building, okay? Now, I have a small building. We've already informed our people what can happen. It could happen in the summer. I'm in Chatham. So I said, whoever is here, I want permission that we will not let them go in without somebody going in the apartment. If you don't want anyone to come in your apartment, then when you come back, you will have to call to make an appointment. Also, I don't know if people in this office know, they are going to have a building and a place, AB, right on site here in the village. So you can always go there, change your service, do whatever you have to do. It's for the convenience of all of the residents. So they'll be right over on, what is it, Fairway Street?
No fairway.
Right, and you'll be able to go there. So it's not that, you have to worry. You'll be able to get it,
And don't forget that, the person ought to be there in their
No
house.
curfew.
For
Should
lots
be,
of
but-
reasons, one, because they're gonna decide where the drops are gonna be. And I'm not going
gonna
in,
change
sorry, John, into your unit and opening it up for somebody to come and then make a mistake of where you
Well,
want
the
to
drops
do
would have to
things.
stay exactly where they are if somebody's not there, period.
Well,
That's right.
if there's cabinetry in the way, we have to move, we don't want to be moving stuff and
No.
taking stuff off your
Has
cabinets.
to go
if
where
you're
it
not home.
is.
I'm not
There's
gonna-
a
yeah,
huge liability there.
We got 240 units.
Yeah, you got a big,
George and I are the maintenance guys, we're not going around opening them.
right, no.
Hold on, one at a time, sir.
To disseminate information, use the bulletin boards on the walls
Yes,
of
of
the
course.
clubhouse in Hastings, and if possible, on the buses. As many of the people who don't know anything until it hits them in the nose, use the buses. Impossible, and I've been in New York buses, the inside and outside of buses, I don't know what the arrangement is, give it a try.
Okay.
Cookie.
Yeah, we have cameras. Now, can we connect into this also? We have outside cameras.
I think Regan's gonna talk about that in a few minutes.
The answer generally
Cameras?
is yes, but we'll hear more about that.
Okay.
Are those cameras on a community channel already?
No.
Oh, personal.
Security, We don't know, are they are they IP cameras?
Yours
I
is
took the
personal,
IP
right?
Personal, I took the
Personal.
IP off and then.
Who
But
views
there
it?
is an IP, it is an IP camera.
Yeah,
Who views it, you know?
she
Is it
does.
one setup?
You go onto the internet and access the
Yeah, that would
website,
be
you
fine.
can see it.
Right.
DVR there
Yeah.
that if they're
It's a
hardwired
Wi-Fi,
already.
what I just can't do is I can't do a
Yeah,
community
yeah, it
channel
can be
for
the
every
same
building,
thing.
you know what I mean, I can't do that, we're gonna do the, you know, main ones for the.
Yeah, but it,
Like
whatever
I
they want.
say, you're gonna provide those drops.
Well,
Terminal equipment is up
yeah,
yeah,
to
right.
the various users. You're not gonna provide terminal
No,
equipment
no.
unless they're gonna purchase the internet, say.
Right.
Or put a cable drop there, a video.
Yeah.
and as we look at, you know,
You're giving us bandwidth.
yeah, and we look at all the drops, you know, that we're doing, the common areas, you know, I've told Charlie, hell or high water, we gotta get those done, that's all your pools, that's your gates,
Right.
you know, of course, the UCO office here, I forget the pedestrian gate, there's a few others on that list that we have to go through. When we look at the irrigation and the camera set up, you know, my advice here is, we just need to know who's gonna do it so that we know what we're providing, cause am I providing 100 gig, 10 gig, everything prices out based on that, and I gotta figure out my costs as I would build that out. And some of the areas are quite a ways outside of the footprint, so I don't know that I can do coax, cause, you know, to Charlie's point, we can only go about 250 feet with that coax and have great signal. We go past that, we're not doing it, we gotta figure out, we gotta re-architecture the network so that we can do it. So you have to let us know who the provider is, let them reach out to us and tell us, what do you want, where do you want it, what kind, you know, then we can incorporate that into the design to say, okay, we're gonna have to modify that. That falls under our business services group. But we'll, you know, you guys are 8,000 units, we're gonna give you pricing that's, you know, as big a discount as we can give, because you're as big as you are. That's what you'll get, but you'll have the functionality of everything you need.
Will you be doing all the pools?
Yeah, all the pools are gonna get Wi-Fi. All the pools, if there's a TV, then we'll put a video in there.
Right. You're not
The
talking
phone
about
service
private
there would be a business
Yeah,
service
it is.
account.
You're a
Because
private
it's,
pool.
you know, you need an SLA, you need that
No,
big
wait,
marker
I
all
don't
the
think he's
time.
understanding what you're
Yeah.
saying.
You have a private pool, you're including that
Yeah,
too, right?
There's a lot of folks in the room.
Private pool meaning what, just your building?
Right, yeah.
Our association.
Yeah.
Yeah, every associate, I think there's what, 17 or some
Look, Cookie,
large number of pools?
Nine.
you're gonna be given a wire. It's gonna have nothing less than 100 megabit on, possibly as much as a gigabit. The terminal equipment, cameras, Wi-Fi that you put on there is your choice. Right? You can buy it from Atlantic Broadband, if you can get a better deal elsewhere, good luck. But I'm just saying, you're being given a pipeline, and what you do with that bandwidth is up to you.
Okay.
Right? Who's next? Barbara.
Okay, so if I have an IP camera in my apartment, so, you know, it runs on my phone, Bluetooth and the internet, I should have no problem with that,
Right,
right?
you're just-
That's what I'm
There's a
trying to explain
provider
to you.
difference, yeah.
With your camera, you won't have any
If it's
problem.
working today with what you have,
That's what
it's
I'm
gonna
telling
work.
her.
As long
Then,
as
and
you're,
maybe it saves you a couple
as
of
long
bucks.
as you're buying data from us, an
Oh, I
internet
will be, of
connection,
course.
it'll work.
You're cheaper.
Yeah.
No, I'm good. We're heading out?
And probably better too.
Alright.
I thought we couldn't have anybody leave early.
Like you said, we're not anybody.
You got anything else you wanna talk to us about? Come on.
Speak up, come on.
The scheduling of the appointments, to get back to what David had started before. If you're looking at the chart, there is an area here where work is I'm focusing on the screen. Work is gonna continue here, but you've got some work scheduled to be completed in this area for a good part of the community. And I understand that that is based on receiving conduit that you're waiting on now. So that would be a time where you start making appointments for doing in-unit installs. But you don't know at this point how far along.
You know, I explained how this is a moving target, okay? There may not be any installs scheduled until January.
That's what he's saying.
But in January, I'm still gonna be building the network here, okay? There's a potential for it. I wanna be finished, but I could quite easily still be pulling fiber or doing splicing or trying to do activation in other parts of the property. Some parts of the property will be up and running beautifully. Other parts will still be a work in progress. Okay,
I
so
understand.
we can be doing both at the same time. To try and give you a schedule today, it's impossible. Okay, but that's what you have to look forward to.
Obviously, you can't give us information you haven't developed yet. That would be neat. But as you develop this information, please keep us in the loop. There's a lot of very interested folks here. We have a lot invested in this project.
There will be a lot, you know.
Maybe small potatoes to you, but it's big deal to us.
No, there'll be a lot of on-site events prior to, you know, kind of informational. There'll be weeks where we're on site, probably in, I would say, late November to December timeframe, where we're starting to schedule and we're having that conversation about, we now, you know, we're working off of a pretty tight date then by Charlie at that point, that we know what areas are hot and what we can start to install, and we start to schedule by building again. So we're there for, I mean, literally, in this place, we were in Sunrise, I think, for 3 weeks. We'll probably be here twice that at least, you know.
Reagan, do you have any 4K content on your wire?
4K content, you can put it on. We don't have any ourselves. I think in the pay-per-views, there's some 4K. There's a limited number of 4K movies.
Be kinda neat
What?
if you could have a demo up at the clubhouse. It's really neat.
I have
Barbara.
two more points that I'll.
Go ahead, let him,
I wanna
go
talk
ahead.
about. The first one is, you have to understand what the value of what you're getting in this fiber. Its capacity for data, upload and download is unlimited. And I mean that, unlimited. The restriction is in the equipment and the terminals at either end of it. And the latest generation of that is what you're getting.
I hear you. Unlimited is an interesting word. I'd be interested in the length of the runs, and I assume you do measurements of intersymbol interference and yada, yada, yada. But I agree, from our point of view, unlimited is acceptable.
Technology wise, we don't know what the limit is. Okay,
I
it's all
understand.
technology driven and equipment driven. So, you know, at some point, there's gotta be a limit. Okay?
Yeah.
Everything has it, but for what you use in your home and your business, you know, this fiber optic cable provides more than enough bandwidth
You're
and
not-
speed.
You're not
More than
running,
enough.
are you running anything higher than 256 quang?
No.
Alright.
56.
The last point I wanna ask has to do with the permitting for the electrical and all the power supplies. And in a lot of cases, these power supplies are on different association property, and UCO principals cannot sign those permit applications.
They don't need to. The permits are between me and the county.
Right.
Okay.
They're electrical permits. They're just saying that the wiring has been done correctly. And then we go to FPL, who just looks at that permit, sees the wiring was done correctly, they connect it to the transformer and stick a meter in there, and I've got an active power supply.
Good,
Now-
answer the question.
To the speed discussion, we at Atlantic Broadband have already launched, you know, DOCSIS 3.1. Now Comcast is still kind of thinking about it, they were gonna do it and they kind of held back a little bit. We launched maybe 3 months ago, so we're doing the gig. If you look at the future forward, where does it take us? We see us at full duplex, DOCSIS 3.1 in probably 3 years, where that's in testing, where the capacity there is 10 gig up and 10 gig down symmetrical. So I think that's more than enough as we get into the world of today.
You're not
I
kidding.
want it in the back room.
10 gig up.
10 up and 10 down.
You'll never use it.
Yeah, exactly, it's like people think, you know, it is neat, cause you could download a movie in 2 seconds rather than
Yeah.
30 seconds, I guess, or whatever, but.
Exactly, sir.
Okay, I'm the VP of my building and the president asked me to ask you a question today.
Okay.
She wants to know, the cable outside the building, do you need permission from the building and how will it be secured to the building? Do you need permission from the building?
No.
No, we
No,
pretty much
easement.
have that now.
It's an
with
easement.
The contract, but what about the attachment, what are we doing on the outside?
Well, what we're gonna try and do is swing the drops over from the Comcast pedestal into our pedestal. If that's not gonna be possible, then we're gonna have to intercept that drop somewhere on the building. Now, you know, these lock boxes that are up about I don't know, this high on the buildings right now, square boxes, all right? We're gonna come on the outside of that box, we'll intercept it in the molding, we'll put our own cable in molding and tie it all together, right there, okay? So it'll be seamless, it's not gonna be absolutely gorgeous, but it won't be ugly. You know, we won't have just
You're
bare
gonna
cable.
be in PVC conduit.
The same stuff they have
Yeah,
on the
exactly.
building now, we're gonna use that same molding.
The important thing, and I'm sure you know this, where it goes through the wall, no leaks.
We're not going through the wall.
No.
It's already going either through the wall or up
I
in the attic.
understand, I
Yeah,
understand.
but we use sealer on that. We use a
Yeah.
grommet that's got sealer on it, so. That's our installers.
I interrupted even before, so.
No, Barbara had it
Okay,
up before
so I
me.
just wanna clarify one thing for everybody in here.
Okay.
That means in July 1, 2019, everybody will be connected to AB.
Everybody that's paid attention.
That's pay,
Just
yeah.
let us in the unit we've installed.
That's let you in the unit, that's, I mean, people
We've
aren't
got
here,
unit access,
that's
correct.
something else, but basically, like, that will, if you're here and you have someone there to have them go in your unit, you will be okay when Comcast says goodbye.
We're gonna get these people scheduled, signed up, scheduled in
You
plenty of
know
time.
what I'm saying, right?
Yes, ma'am. It's the
Okay.
people that start lollygagging.
We have
I
to
love
get
that
everybody
term.
here to get everybody motivated.
I would like this time to see a better job than Comcast did. Within the last year, when Comcast and I were talking, 13% of the units in this building, in this
Right.
campus, have yet to receive a cable box. 13%.
And we're paying,
Do the arithmetic.
Wow.
yeah. That's
No,
right.
this can happen. Sometimes you'll have seasonals who just disappear.
Yeah.
And the philosophy may be nobody can get into that apartment. That's why I would like to see the boards engaged to gin up their unit owners to allow these installations to occur. Whether the unit owner is there or not, and I know that is gonna cause some problems, there's no doubt in my mind. But we really need to try to get this box, we're paying for it, we're paying a bulk rate, we need to get these wirings and boxes into the units.
For us, that's great if you have a representative representing the owner and can let our installers in and they can help us move furniture and whatever we have to do.
I got you.
That's not a problem, as long as everybody says we walk out, you did a good job, we're finished. Okay, cause we don't want the owners coming back saying, we broke something.
Right.
When
Exactly.
you were in the unit with us and you know we didn't break it, okay? So it's just a liability for us, but we're more than happy to do that as long as someone goes with us and it's.
The other thing that we do
Owners
as we progress
represent.
down the installation time frame is, we're gonna come to you with the meeting and say we're 70%, 80%, or we'll come and say, we've done it at other places where we put a stack of paper on the thing of these 28 or 200 or 500, whatever the numbers, we can't get, we've called them, we've done all this,
Can't get
we
in,
can't get
can't
them
get
to
in.
respond.
We'll
Then
do-
each president can take that and go,
We
okay, I
will
need to
do-
figure out those people in
We'll
my
do
unit.
everything we can.
Yeah.
Yeah.
To help you make that connection.
Yeah.
And we always come in, that comes at the end, when we just say, look, we've made multiple attempts, we can't get these people to call us back, we've left messages, we dropped a flyer at their door. We do that ourselves, where we drop it and go slide under the door and go, you need us to call us, we need to get your cable done. But every building, we end up with, 10% or 5% that go,
Raise your hand.
they just don't pay
Can I
attention.
suggest something?
Sure.
Your guys that come in, can they have badges on?
Yeah, all of our employees,
Our
install guys will have,
Because we've got some people.
yeah, they have
in
the
our
ABB
association
badge and,
They'll have their
that
picture on it and
172
everything.
people are not gonna let you in.
It'll look just like this, they all carry them. If they don't have that, don't let them in.
All right, would you all please wait? There's a lot of folks in
Raise
here.
your hand.
Raise your hand,
Go ahead.
you'll be recognized. Eva,
Alright, so while the contract is Yukos and all the information on the contract was Yukos, I also have service at the two clubhouses. Yet when we needed to call for service, our information was nowhere, they didn't take us seriously, it was difficult to get anybody to show up. So I just wanna make sure that however we word this, that my addresses and
Yeah.
I don't know if it's a subcontract, whatever it would be, that when we call, people will recognize us, who we are in the village, and we'll be able to get some
Yeah, that's
faster
not a
action.
problem. We'll build a separate account for that. Under the masters, if it's, there is some courtesy, there's always a subset account that's built there. that
Perfect.
says-
Okay, thank you.
I saw a hand.
The guy.
Oh, sir, yes.
A lot of physical changes have happened within our units since Comcast originally came in and wired. Will individual unit owners be receiving any bills for any customization that you do when you go into
Oh.
the units?
Of course.
Wait a minute.
In
I'm
other
not sure,
words,
our contract calls for 3 drops. One full up box and a couple, I'm gonna call them DTAs. If you want major motion, move somewhere else.
Right.
You want additional drops, there will be a charge for that.
Yeah, I think a new outlet's like $35 or something like that, if you want, or if you want an outlet moved, it's here and, it's already connected there, and they say, oh, well, I want it over there, those guys can do it, but they're gonna charge you like
Yeah.
$35 to do it, to take the outlet, move it over there.
I'm gonna give you something to think about. If you look around your apartment, unless you've moved it, in the beginning, there was a master antenna in this village. And there's ancient black coated fiber, coax in there.
Yeah.
I wouldn't use that wiring for anything personally. I put a lot of money into my unit. I don't want coax stapled to crown molding and baseboards. I am gonna have an electrician come in advance and fish RG6 from where it comes through the wall into all those existing connections, all those coax connections. And you will not see that wire anywhere in the apartment, except in the back closet where it comes through the wall. Now, is that gonna bother you guys?
No, we put our own connectors and everything on, just to make sure that it's done right and everything, so, yeah.
I'm just saying, a lot of people don't want this coax stapled around door frames
Yeah, they're gonna have
and
a
onto
problem on the
crown
first floor.
molding and onto baseboards. You're
You know,
gonna
I
get very upset.
I went in some units here that have nothing but that,
I
Yeah,
know.
well,
and
the
those,
first floors are gonna have that, because how are you going to, unless it's fished through from the very top. First floors or second floor, if you're a 2-story building, they can fish it through your attic. If you're first floor, they have the piping, which most people have for electrical stuff, unless they fish it down. Everybody I know on the first floor has that, you're right.
we're gonna run into problems here with wiring. We know that going into
Yeah,
it.
you
You've got almost 8,000 units here, and no 2 units are exactly the same
Right.
when it comes to the wiring. Now, to answer your question, to kind of expand on it, if we get into your unit, you've got 3 outlets in there, and let's say the wiring's bad on one of them, we will do everything we can to replace that at the time of install, and it's not gonna cost you anything. That's to my advantage, to fix that. It makes sure I don't have noise going back into my network. Okay, but if we have to do a huge amount of work that's totally outside of our realm of responsibility, you probably will end up having to pay something, okay? But, look,
People need to know that they don't get surprised with,
Yeah, it's in the
Gets
FAQs, when
slammed
we
with a
hand
bill.
that out, when we do hand out the FAQs, we do put that in as one of the questions, cause people will ask that.
but you don't pay for our service calls, you don't pay for the install when we come in there. What, are they paying for service if it's something on their end? Cause
No,
some people have.
nothing,
Nope.
no
They don't
charge
have
for
batteries in the
anything.
remote, we
Not
fix,
like
put
you pay
batteries
with
in, and we out there we
Comcast.
go.
So,
No
and
charge.
part of our service is to make sure that you've got perfect signal to all of your outlets that you're paying for, okay? And we understand this going in. 90% of the time, it's the connectors, okay? Sometimes we have some drop issues. Now, look, Comcast has been in here for a long time. Comcast has had a ton of service calls out here. And then their service calls, they've replaced a lot of cable here, okay? And so we're gonna use that cable that's already in your building instead of kind of coming here and reinventing the wheel and redo it. But we know we're gonna have some stuff we gotta fix.
Yeah.
We're back to the question that someone asked earlier, what happens when we come up on that? That installer will not leave that unit unless he's got a heck of a lot of work. It's gonna take a long time. He's not gonna leave until everything's perfect there. And we have enough installers in here doing the work. We had 60 guys in Sunrise that were blowing through there. Okay, 60 installers working every day, all right? We'll probably have more than that coming in
That's a
here,
lot.
okay? Yes, sir.
So will most of your wiring be done surface wiring?
however we could get in there, but if it's surface now, it's gonna be surface when we leave.
Just something for anybody in the room to bring back to people you know or your buildings, for people who aren't gonna be here. And they're gonna have someone come in, or maybe their president come in, whatever the situation, tell them to take pictures of their apartment, take pictures. Cause they don't wanna hear later, well, they broke something. Well, you know what? It's your word against their word, or someone not being there. It's always good to have a picture of your place, so it'd be a smart idea to tell your people, if they're gonna have someone else here, when they're coming in their apartment, take pictures, that's all I can tell you.
And my advice to you.
It's for your benefit.
Yeah, and pass on to your people, don't just let our installers in and let them go.
Right,
Watch them,
somebody's
see
gotta
what
be
they're
in there.
doing. And make sure you got your eye on them. You don't know these guys. Now, all of our guys are very good, reputable guys. You know, we check them out before we hire them and put them out in people's houses. And they do have ID
Yeah.
cards. But, you know, just
But-
watch them. They're a stranger in your house. Just
Yeah.
don't let them go willy-nilly throughout your unit, opening closet doors and going into cabinets because they want to. You know, they should be asking permission to go into another room to do work.
Right,
Okay, and you should be watching them, and the people here should, so.
George,
Exactly. How long is the worker going to be in there?
It could
depends.
take them anywhere from 15 minutes to 2-3 hours, depending on the amount of work.
So somebody who's got a unit that and they're a snowbird, and they're away, and they're willing to give somebody in the association a key for their unit. But is that person, the friend that's got the key, gonna have to sit there for 2 hours?
yes,
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 because if he doesn't, we're gonna leave. We're
Of
not gonna
course,
be
he's gotta
there
stay
Can't be
there.
there unattended.
unescorted. We're not gonna leave our guys in any one
They won't
unit
do it.
unescorted.
She's good.
I don't think that you want someone in your unit unescorted.
No,
And I really believe we'll have majority, if not all, of the snowbirds done prior. Because we're gonna start, like I said, sometime right away in January, moving forward. So by the time April, May rolls around, we'll be 80+% done, if not closer to 90.
You have to also understand the way this is going to go. Once they install all the nodes, then those nodes will be tested. Once they're tested, it's active. They come to do the installing your unit, if it's 3 months before July, you're on the new system.
Let's get some terminology down here because the terminology is wrong, okay? The node is just one piece of the device in my network. Just because the node's on doesn't mean you got signal to your
No.
apartment, like he's telling you, okay? That's not true. Because that node feeds other devices down the line. The node comes on first, and then we turn these other devices on. These other devices is what feeds your apartment. I could have a node on for a month, and those other devices are not active. If that node's not operating properly, I'm not gonna send signal further down the line, okay? But before I leave that area, everything will be on. Before we start doing installs, everything will be turned on. It will be proofed, it will be tested, and then it'll be certified before the installer ever comes into your unit, okay? But we have nodes, we have taps, we have mainline, and we have drops. I keep hearing, we're just gonna run a drop to these cameras. Well, you know, this impossible. The cameras are too far away. I'm gonna have to, if I get to the cameras, if they're gonna be IP cameras, I've gotta build hardline to those. So it's not just a drop. A drop can only be run 250 feet maximum because of signal loss and be able to guarantee a certain amount of signal. Everything past that is mainline construction to get to anything,
Well, I've
okay?
got
So
plenty of cameras at my
So
clubhouses.
this is a perfectly reasonable statement, but try to remember a dig once philosophy. I don't wanna come back 2 years, 3 years, 5 years from now and do more digging.
if I'm gonna dig a main line to a camera, it's gonna be 24 to 30 inches deep. It's gonna be in pipe. It's gonna be protected, and you're not gonna have to come back 10 years from now and dig unless somebody chops it up,
I'm just saying,
you know? Now, I just wanna make a comment of some, thank you for the nice words earlier, okay?
Oh, you guys earned it.
But what he didn't tell you is that when I met him, my head was just about to blow off.
Heard.
okay? Because I saw what my contractors had done out there and it's not what I wanted. And they really did not do a very good job. Now, they walked up, him and Donald walked up to tell me what a great job they were doing until I interrupted them and told them this is not a good job. Okay, this is not the way it's gonna be. It's not what I built. And I made the contractors come back and redo building A and B, okay? This is what you're gonna get on this property from me and my group, okay? We don't allow any bad work. We don't allow any shoddy work. I don't allow any substandard work or any activity out here, okay? And thank you, I appreciate, you didn't say anything, but I have to tell you that this is what's gonna go on here, okay? So when we finish this network, there's not gonna be one complaint here, I hope, of anything that we've done on the construction side. And if there is, most of you have my business card, and I'm not afraid to answer my phone when you call me. Okay, I also give my business cards out to residents. They have this phone number right here, not my office number that's got some answering system on it, or, you know, a secretary sitting at a desk taking notes. It goes to my cell phone. You call me, you leave a message, I'll call you back if I don't answer it. Okay, so please, you know, don't be shy. I wanna know if something's going on.
I think Ken is next.
Charlie, what's the difference between the two different color conduit?
No. It's the same. They're using the red conduit right now because they bought it. They asked me if they'd go buy conduit so they could get started. I said, go ahead. Because mine's on order, it's not here yet. So the gray conduit is what I provide them. The orange conduit is something that they purchased, so they can go ahead and get started. There's no difference in it though, it's the same stuff. It's 2-inch SDR conduit. It's made exactly the same.
Sure.
How contingent are these schedules and deadlines upon Florida weather? You can't, there's no way.
Can't do anything about that.
Yeah.
Can you even answer that?
Yeah, well, I can answer it from, you know, the experience that we went through with Sunrise Lakes Phase 3. That's like 3,500 units, somewhere in that range. And we basically told them we needed 10 months to build this. We dilly-dallied around with the contract and kept saying, you gotta sign this. And the attorney said, oh, I'll get an extension, and he of course didn't get the extension, and we signed it with 9 months. And then we had Irma come through and, you know, crush us, and then we couldn't, the city held us up and said, you can't go down until we do the light poles first, and other things like that, held us up about a month, you know, 3 weeks plus, and we still made that deadline. But, you know, it's all on Charlie, he works the guys, you know, another hour, another day, another whatever he has to do, but we get to, you know, we're gonna get to the finish line, it's not up for debate when we get, this is our deadline, he figures out how he's gonna make that, and that means, what it means is terms of the contract. He hired an extra contractor, had him, put him into the thing and say, I want you to do this task, you know, from here to here. So, yeah,
I have fluff in my schedules, okay, for that. I have to, you know, we're in paradise here, so.
John, best laid plans of mice
Mice
and
and
men.
men came back to play, yes.
They're not gonna be out there trenching in the teeth of a hurricane.
Exactly.
Force majeure.
If I had my way, they would be, but.
Yeah. Marcel, you have anything else?
No, I'm good for now.
Charlie?
No, sir.
Alright, we're sorry for the, it often happens when talking to a professional, bad terms get used, lack of understanding and process. I admit fully to that. Brady?
No, I think we're good. I think, like I said, as this progresses, more is gonna come in as we look at the back end of this, meaning what do the events look like? When Bev comes in, she's gonna put a, you know, whole schedule up there and coordinate what buildings and events and times and where we're gonna be at different locations. We're gonna try to work out the lease on the new location and have that up and running. Our goal is to try to get in May. You know, Charlie might wanna put some, you know, different things there, and, you know, we wanna get up in May and probably have that thing open by, you know, towards the end of that year, so we're ready to go.
We're waiting for your legal. We
They went
sent-
back again?
Yes.
Went back again.
Good.
Because our insurance chair had some issues with the insurance component,
Okay,
so we're waiting for it to come back.
alright, I'll
We
check on
will-
that when I go in.
We will expedite that. That building's well advanced now.
Okay, yeah,
Keep an eye on it. Go over and take a look.
Yep.
Ken,
I have a question for Reagan. You still anticipating using the same end user equipment that you did when we signed the contract?
The only update would be the TiVo is, the box has been upgraded now, we've had some changes in that, so, you know, by the time you guys launch, they're coming out with a whole new platform. You'll end up on that, as well as, the box configuration went to like a smart box. So there's some new boxes in that, you know, atmosphere. So you'll have access to that, you'll have all the, you know, the newest TiVo equipment if you
Keep
go to
us
the
in the
TiVo.
loop on that.
Yeah, I'll send you a link on some of the TiVo stuff, you scratch that down for me and I'll make sure and get it over to you guys.
So when you say we'll have access to it, is that part of the bulk agreement?
No, the bulk agreement is, it's got the standard boxes in it, but you have a rate, if you're gonna get internet, I forget what it is, it's
With the
$20
internet,
some,
yeah.
and you get 100 meg, and you get the box upgrade for free.
Is the standard box a TiVo box or?
No,
No.
you have to have
That comes-
internet to have the TiVo box, so
Okay.
this doesn't have internet in the package at this point, we just have the video in it.
If you get the internet and you get the TiVo,
That's
you
correct.
get the new remote where you can speak
Yeah,
into
the voice
it.
remote, everything,
Voice
yep.
remote, yeah,
Yep.
okay.
It's all dependent on getting your Wi-Fi package.
Yes, and then you get the box
Bottom
upgrade, go to
line.
TiVo.
Sure.
Will it still work the same?
Will it still work? Any other questions?
I have,
Sir?
I noticed that in Century Village, there are flags in the ground.
Yeah.
Orange flags that said FPL.
right.
They also, behind my unit, there's yellow tape isolating a section right behind my
Alright.
building.
Yeah.
Is Florida Power Light gonna supply install the power supply?
No, they provide us power,
Yeah,
but my contractors install the power supplies. My contractor installs a pad, the power supply itself,
right,
which there's a picture of in one of these.
right.
And they put the pipe and the wiring over into the Florida Power transformer box.
Okay.
Florida Power comes over, opens their transformer box, hooks the wires up, and puts a meter there. That's all they do.
I am the treasurer of Sheffield Could you guys inform me when they're gonna do that? Because I warned the committee that whenever you're doing a big installation like this, it's better to get it done right the first time. Because if you have to go back and do it over, it's gonna be very expensive. And I think you just spoke to
Where's
this
that?
gentleman behind me, thanking him for catching a boo-boo for a subcontract.
With Hastings,
This is Hastings, this is
Um,
Sheffield.
right, that's Sheffield.
Alright,
See where
I
it's close to
wanna
fire
just
supply.
make a comment, because I saw a lot of eyes go up when Roy talked about the flags. And in fact, you can look this up on the internet. Before they start to dig, they have to get on to locates. It's a general term for people that come and determine what they're likely to run into when they start to dig. Power, water, sewer, cable, you name it. And they certainly don't want to be in the business of cutting these connections. All those flags, you can decode them by color. For water, for power, for whatever. And probably the big thing for Charlie's diggers is our irrigation system, for which we do not have a master plan, no matter how hard we've tried. So occasionally, one of those may be
You
cut, but
couldn't even
hopefully
locate it
not.
anyway, there's no metal with it, so
Right.
it's all plastic pipe, so.
Yeah.
Yeah. We found them so far. We've dug
So
around.
you're gonna see lots of these flags going up. Have no fear. If you really wanna know what they are, you can get on the internet, plug in locates flags, and you'll get it all decoded. It's very interesting, the color coding for the different utilities and services.
I don't know what's going on with the yellow tape, we're not working in your area.
That's that
And-
water department,
And
I think.
FPL, all FPL is doing is locating for somebody, we haven't even called locates in your
the
area,
water
those
department.
flags are just showing where their facilities are.
Yeah,
Okay.
the yellow tape's about 6 feet by 6 feet by 6 feet.
Somebody's done something.
That's the water.
Is there a
That's the water.
sinkhole there?
No, not at all, never, never.
It's not us, I don't know who's over there doing some digging, but somebody is.
Any other questions? Marcel?
Regan, do we need to set up a meeting, between a small group to determine the additional drop details?
No, let's, I would suggest, like I said, figure out who you're gonna have do what you're gonna have done, and tell them to get back with us, and we'll be happy then to figure out how to build it and put it into the
I
plan.
thought you had a list from us.
Yeah, we have a list of all the drops, but like Charlie said, there's some of these drops, I don't know what you want there, number one, and number two, they're outside of the network, so we'd have to reconfigure that.
I got you.
We're happy to do that from the standpoint, once you get somebody that's gonna, who's gonna do the camera system for you? Somebody's gonna provide, and we need to know what are we providing, what bandwidth, so we can figure out when we re-engineer the architecture of the network to be able to service that.
Work this with CamCam.
Okay.
Donald.
Can, and then your irrigation, the same thing, who's gonna kinda, where's that, he mentioned a I said, where's that gonna be? Well, to be determined, I kinda need to know the upfront,
It is TBD,
okay,
but controlling whether a pump goes on and off is a rather low bandwidth problem. Cameras are
That's just
something
on
else.
off right now.
yeah, well, I
Cameras
still,
eat up bandwidth, so,
Huh?
you know, you need to aggregate all that
Sure.
data to some point before it even ties into our network. We don't design those kind of systems as
Yeah.
a whole,
I understand.
other companies do. That's what Donald's saying, y'all need to find a company that can do that for you. Include tying your monitoring for your pump stations, if that's what you wanna do, your water levels for your weir, all that kind of stuff. There's companies that design those systems. And we'll work with that group, okay, to see how we can integrate that into the network to see how you guys can operate it, okay? So
Okay.
the good news is we're ahead of schedule and we're gonna dig it once, like you said.
On the issue of the nature of the trenching, maybe some of these problems can be solved by radio.
radio does a lot,
Uh,
you know, it could be.
We're gonna
I've
talk to
seen that
you
used on
about
golf
this.
courses.
I just have this idea of controlling a lot of stuff.
I need to bring one of our engineers in. These guys know more than I do. You know, I'm gonna tell you, I couldn't design this network for you. I've been building these networks for a long time. And I met with Donald, I met with Marcel. I have no idea what it is that you want, even after talking to them. And I've sent Marcel an email, said, please send me details on what it is you're trying to accomplish here. But we need to
alright,
get somebody
in
from
general-
engineer involved.
In general, we're gonna try to enhance our security by placing cameras in various places.
Good idea.
This has been suggested by PBSO and others. Also, we have a problem of people who like to mess with our irrigation stations. You know, they're so sure that they're not getting enough water, they wanna turn it on whenever they feel like
We
it.
just spent a lot of money.
Well, this is an integrated pressurized system and we cannot tolerate that. You go turn on your system out of schedule, somebody else doesn't get water. So we want to control those pump stations from a single location.
Are you gonna do this across the internet?
If that's the best way to do it, yes.
That's what you need to get an engineering group to
Absolutely.
come
That's
tell
what we
you.
need to know.
And if that's the case, we can place modems at these locations and you can access it just like at your house having data. You can access it across a website where you have the software.
You-
That's the stuff we don't do, that you need to get an engineering group,
Understood.
okay? And then we can run the lines. Okay, I'm glad you understand.
The line.
David,
ahead.
it sounds like we wanna future-proof this installation.
To the degree we can.
And we don't know what the end result is gonna be. So how do we do that if we don't know what the end result is gonna be?
I think we have a good feeling for what the end result is gonna be.
Yeah, we
If
just
I
need
tell
that.
you I wanna control 20 pumps from a single point,
But they're saying they
yes,
want
the
more
internet,
information.
well, we'll do the best we can.
Right now,
But
you-
I say to you, you put a pipe there, and ultimately,
Well,
we'll work out how to use
No,
it.
I
I know,
understand
put a
that, but
pipe
he's,
from
he's,
where to where? I know where you're going to the pump.
Placement, you have to have placement.
Sure, I mean, I can run a pipe from
course.
anywhere to anywhere, it's just digging and throwing it in the ground,
No,
but.
it's a laser, we're gonna laser.
Yeah, we're gonna
You mean
put,
microwave?
we're gonna, no,
No,
we're
laser.
gonna put an IP device at the end of your pipe, and we're gonna control something via internet.
All that for us was go through our business services real quick, so we just need to know what you want there, and they can connect it, they build the model, and we incorporate it to Charlie to say, okay, well, this is what we need.
And I'll
based
get
on
it
these
done.
specifications.
So will the drops be included in our bulk?
No,
No, that's, you're gonna have to pay extra for those
all the drops for the common areas are included, your pools and your clubhouses and your gates and all of that. All of that's common area stuff, but when you're
Are the
entering
private-
specialized task,
Are the private pool drops included in that?
yeah, the pools.
Yes.
Private
yes,
pools,
yes.
okay.
Pool, to me, is a pool, if it's
A pool is a
private or
pool.
public or,
Yeah.
No, it's not.
it's on premises,
I
it's a
know, but
pool.
they're considered.
See, I'm gonna take that pipe he's gonna give me over at, that's not funny, Cookie. Over at Greenbrier Pool,
Yeah.
and I'm gonna put a little Wi-Fi system up there.
There you go.
An access
Alright.
point.
And then there will be Wi-Fi at our pool.
Yeah, I'm gonna put the pipe in there, I'm gonna pull a hard line in there, I'm gonna put a tap in there. And then when you
You guys
guys
can
get
connect.
ready, when it all gets.
Okay, and there's no cost to us for this.
No, we set it up
I don't think so.
basically at.
On the pools.
No, it's no cost.
Somerset, Southampton, Greenbrier, Gulf's Edge, Plymouth, Oxford, Dorchester, and Wellington
All
pools.
the private.
Thank you.
Now, when I come along and purchase Wi-Fi bandwidth, that will be a cost to me.
That will be cost to the association.
Correct,
Okay, that's what I'm talking
Yes.
about.
not to you, go.
I'm just double checking. I don't wanna see a bill come in here that I'm paying for your pool internet.
That ain't gonna happen.
They all come through me, I look at
I assure you, our treasurer will not allow that to happen.
them. He has no pool, so I trust him.
Any other questions? I wanna thank you all, the interest in this project is very encouraging to see. All right, I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
I think they're on their feet already.
They're adjourning under.
Oh, yeah, okay.
The lights
Yeah, we
at 7
talked
o'clock
about
in the
yesterday.
morning at Hastings.
I am not immune to
Parking
saying
and the
something
pool
stupid.
apron, they're not
Just
on.
tell me what I do.
I'll
get over it.
You know, it's a risky situation, okay? I know what it is.
Why they're not on, I know we're having problems with our parking lot lights.